its credit rating increased by 2 points during the crisis. The economic dynamism adds to our soft power. At the same time, it has to be backed by foreign policy tools, ladies and gentlemen. New markets and new investments require more attention to the interests of our business community. In short, just like our American and European friends, now Turkey too has to support and protect its growing business interests through active diplomacy. The third feature that enables Turkey to pursue a more active foreign policy is its unique ability to understand, empathize, and communicate with different worldviews. Turkey has always been defined as the bridge between the East and the West. I believe an accurate terminology about today's Turkey would not be a bridge between civilizations, but a center for awareness of difference. Turkey, with the ability to draw on different cultural and historical experiences of the East and the West, has capability to understand both worlds. As a secular democracy with a predominantly Muslim population, as a free market economy, as the only country that has a history in both Europe and Middle East, Turkey can and does reach out different identities in different worlds. I should make this point very clear. The question whether Turkey belongs to Western or Eastern civilization is not a meaningful one. In today's world, what is important is that Turkey has ability to communicate with different worldviews through its peculiar identity and competence. At the same time, the ability to understand languages of different worlds enables Turkey to make meaningful effort to resolve conflicts. This is how and why we were able to mediate between Israel and Syria. This is why Turkey can and does talk to every group in Lebanon, in Bosnia-Herzegovina, in Kosovo, in Afghanistan, and in Iraq. Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, with the fall of Berlin Wall, democracy and pluralism found their rightful place in global society. For the last 2 decades, medium of democracy is the only legitimate discourse in international relations. In recent years, Turkey's domestic reforms, supported by its EU accession process, have enabled to achieve higher levels of democracy for Turkish people. Obviously, this is a dynamic process and there is always room for perfection. Thus, Turkey will continue to work to rise up to higher standards of democracy. In its foreign policy, strengthening of an indigenous democracy has increased the credibility of Turkey's messages. Thus, as the fourth factor, speaking the language of democracy helps Turkey to reinforce its soft power in the international arena. Dear guests, dear friends, the combination of all these factors transpires in Turkey's eagerness and capability to achieve a zone of democracy, peace, and stability in our region. Unfortunately, discussions on Turkey in the US mostly overlook factors like these that drive our policies. Over the last 20 years, our world has undergone an immense transformation. Today, the perils before us are rare before us are of a different and more complex nature. Therefore, we can no longer tackle the challenges as we have in the past. We need new tools and a revised approach. Many students of Turkey ask, is there a shift in Turkey's foreign policy orientation? What lies beneath this question is an attempt to reject the flow of history. Today's Turkey cannot be studied with yesterday's parameters. Today, the context, expectations, and the needs of global politics are different from yesterday. The meaning of security has been changing. Concepts of transparency and legitimacy are no more peculiar to domestic politics. The notion of interdependency gained a new connotation. Patron-client relationship is a relic of the past. As the global order changes, so does Turkey. Turkey's political stability, economic growth, democratization process, and a novel perspective about its history and geography enabled normalization of Turkey's foreign policy. Turkey is no more a passive recipient agent. It is a constructive actor. It is aware of its interests and responsibilities and capabilities. Turkey, therefore, pursues the historical context, its needs and capabilities. There is no shift in Turkey's foreign policy. There is normalization of Turkey's conceptualization of itself and its environment. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, I encourage you to take the long view in your studies of the Turkish foreign policy. I also encourage you to observe the larger flow of history, not a moment of it. Thank you so much. And I would be delighted to take any questions that you might have. Well, if you don't want to ask questions, that's fine with me. Yes.
Hi, Andrea Friedman from the office of Senator Lomberg, New Jersey. I would love if you'd comment a little bit on Turkey's relationship with Israel, as obviously depth of experience there, and where
Yes.
it's happening.
Well, thank you. I think this is the most popular subject in this town. I have been receiving so many questions about our relationship with Israel. Actually, as I mentioned in the ending parts of my speech, I think we need to look at the big picture. It's very important. If you don't look at the big picture, you may not see probably the importance of the historical developments in the recent past. Turks and Jews have 519 years of history behind them. 519 years. 519 years. It's easy to say. And we, the Turks, have a very clean record behind us. There is no single moment in the history, except the last one, that we had given anything else but embrace, support, sanctuary to our Jewish friends. So that's why Turkey was next after United States in recognizing Israel 63 years ago, right? That's why that was an uninterrupted relationship so far. That's why we've been, as I told you a while ago, mediating and finding solutions to Israel's problems with its neighbors. That's why we always defended Israel to live as an independent state within the internationally recognized borders. That's why we always voiced our support and everything. But Israel has made a mistake, a huge mistake. There is no explanation to this mistake but apology. We want to move on and put this behind. But I think Israel should be the first to take steps in apologizing from what it has done last year. And I know it's hard for them, but don't forget, only friends do apologize. Enemies do not from each other. Yes. Yes, please.
Hi, I'm Cynthia Butler, and I'm just curious about our current position and posture in Iraq and your relationship, Turkey's relationship with the Kurds.
With the Kurds?
Yeah. And is what we're doing in Iraq aggravating or helping your democratization issues with regard to Kurds? I mean, I don't want to get off the Israeli point. I could go back there, but I'm curious about the civil rights, civil liberties, and civil protections, both from an Iraqi perspective and a Turkish perspective, with regard to the Kurds. Is that something that is complicated at all? Your relations with the U.S. in terms of how we're intervening in Iraq right now, or what would you like to see happen?
Well, not at all. I mean, we have no complication whatsoever, as much as the Kurds, are concerned. But if you talk about some terrorists, then it is different. However, whatever it be, our relations on this matter, on Iraq, and our cooperation is next to none with the United States. It is of utmost importance, and we are working very closely together. We have been cooperating each and every moment, even as we speak. Our ambassadors there in Baghdad are not only close friends, but they have an impeccable working relationship on daily basis. We exchange information, we compare notes, whatever you say. And it's not just a sort of a relationship that would focus only on Kurds per se. We have, as you know, it is a very diverse society there. We have different religious groups, different ethnic groups. It is a mixture of everything.